Volks TV. Working on a new car today. Well, not a new car, obviously. We got Kiki's bus in the shop today. It's got some rust issues. It's a little bit rusty. It's a Georgia bus. It came out of a field up there somewhere, or a swamp, or under a lake. It's pretty bad, but it runs good. And the outside it has this rad crackle patina. So we're gonna save it, and we're gonna dump a bunch of money into some new green metal and some of the black metal, the stuff that we couldn't find green. New floors, new rockers, inner and outer, some frame pieces, outside doors, outside body skin, both cargo door lower skins, some upper skins, maybe just some whole new doors if we have to. Front floors, dog legs, the roof needs to be replaced, the windshield surrounds need to be replaced. Long list. Tons of parts that we're going to order. So we've got a big pile of it. You can't see it because it's behind you right now. We've got a big pile of green metal, and we're right now working on getting the floor out. You can see from here that the rust is pretty extensive underneath into the frame. So once we get this floor cut out, we'll see if we can maybe replace some of those pieces, or if we can save some of them, we will. And it's a lot of work. It's gonna take us a little while. But we're just trying to get it sealed up so he can enjoy it. I mean, he drives it now, but it's noisy, it's windy, it's got rust blowing around. We need to do something about it. So we're gonna show you how to get the floor out. It's not really that hard. It's a little tricky, but there's some ways that you can do it. There's a million ways you can do it. I think Mitch is doing his bus right now over at Skinner's place in California. And that's the pro way to do it. If you got the time and the tools, definitely that's the way to do it. But you can do it our way in the garage too, just with a drill and a grinder and a couple cutoff wheels. So we'll show you the way we do it. We'll start piecing it back together and clamping and tacking and measuring and trimming and all this. We've got some special tools that we're going to use for when we start fitting panels, but we'll get to that probably next time. So for this time, just check us out as we pop this floor out of here. This will just be a quickie, you know, because it's a lot of tedious work and I won't make you sit here and watch me do all of it. So let's get to it. Alright, so as you can see, we found the spot welds. I circled them so that it'd be easier to find them later. We started drilling them out. That's right there is kind of what you want. You just want to pop through that top layer. Sometimes you're going to blow it out just like that, and that's because it's right on the edge of the frame, or because the frame is super rusty, like right there. You know, we got a good one there, and we blew it out twice where it went clean through. But don't worry about it, it's okay. We can fix that when we put the new floor in. Chances are that's all going to have to get replaced anyways. So really, just using a regular bit. It's got a little, it's hard to tell. I think it zoomed in on that. There we go. It's got a little tip on it. These work really nice because it gets in there ahead of time. Now you can see it kind of gets in there before and drills like a tiny hole, and then spreads it out later, so it stays straight so you don't wobble off of the weld. But you can just see, if you get the light just right, you can see in there where the spot weld is versus where it's not. So that's what you want to do. The idea is just to drill that out. So we've got about 900 more of these to drill out, so I'm going to go ahead and get to it. And then hopefully it doesn't get too late, and we might be able to actually get some cutting done today. But I don't know, we might just drill. We'll see. Here we go. see we kind of, where we drilled it, some spots we drilled a little deep, but it's okay because we'll fill it with weld. But you know, right in there, that's kind of perfect. So this piece isn't as bad as I thought. The inner rocker is going to get replaced anyways, so we're going to grind it off back here. You know, we'll drill out the welds there and pop this off. We have a new one. I'm going to wait until I have the floor kind of tacked in at least though, so we don't get these to wander. You got to be really careful when you're cutting through here because you've got, you know, all sorts of lines for cables and brake line and speaker wire. You know, people put all kinds of weird stuff through the frame back there. So you can see why his heat doesn't work. If you can, yeah, you see down there is his heater hose or heater pipe completely rusted off. So we're gonna have to do something about that. I know once we get this thing all cut out, there's gonna be more stuff to order. I mean, the main frame seems pretty solid. So it's just the supports, the top hats, the outriggers, which we have all new. And we'll go in there and kind of clean all that up with a wire wheel and hit it with some epoxy, some POR 15 maybe, and then some undercoating just to protect it before we put the floor on. Not these parts, obviously, where we're going to weld it. Those will just get cleaned up, maybe hit it with some OSFO or something, and then you know, weld the new parts on. But so we just have to do that here for this frame, and then here, here, and along here, you know, back here. It's two halves, and there's actually a seam. It's hard to see, but there, right here is a seam. The driver's side lays on top of the passenger side, so you put the passenger side down first, tack it in place, get the driver's side down, tack that in place, and then once everything lines up here with the doors, you know, the door catch for the rod, then you just go nuts and start welding all these tacks welds to the frame. That's all that holds that floor in. We've got to put in a new lower bulkhead, and then back here we'll have to do maybe get a little bit of that if that doesn't clean up. It's got a couple small holes in it, and that'll make the floor super solid. And then the frame pieces going up the side there, the supports, they'll get replaced from that first rib down, so right about here down, all three of them. And then on this side back here by the door, we'll do these. And it's a lot of metal, but when we're done, this bus will be super solid. All right, we got all that floor out. I'm gonna cut a little more over there after, but for now, that's the main part of the passenger side. We'll get to the driver's side from tomorrow probably, and make it look like this. These parts are okay. I dressed it with a flapper wheel, one of those little guys on my grinder, just to knock down what was left of their welds, and then took a hammer and flattened out the parts that had gotten bent. You just kind of want to straighten them out, and then I'm going to go back and all my little holes here where I over drilled, those will all get filled in with some weld, and then ground down again just before we put the final panel on, just so we're welding to something that's flat. So that's it. We'll clean up a little bit and see what the next step is. All right, look at that. We got the floor all cut out. I had this temporary piece that I fit in here just so I could show you guys how it fits. This is just an extra one for another project we got coming down the road here. But this is what you got to watch out for. These things always need to be trimmed to fit. You know, they don't always fit good. You see here, it doesn't even reach the wheel well, but we're already running into the frame here. So we're gonna have to trim it. This one's bent too because it's a really low gauge floor. It's a cheap piece, but for the floor in a camper, it doesn't really matter because we're going to put plywood over the top anyways. So the floor, you can save a few bucks and get the cheaper one. If you're hauling stuff with it, you want to definitely go with the heavier gauge, the green metal floor, because it's just going to stand up to, you know, abuse a little better. Like I said, in the camper, you know, we put that 1/4 inch plywood over it anyways, and then you're not really throwing engine blocks and you know, stuff like that in there. So but the thinner gauge is fine. You just got to trim it a little bit to fit in there. The important stuff, you know, the reason we left that old piece of rocker that was in there is so that we can try and locate these when the actual floor pieces that we got come in. He did get the 2 halves brand new, so we're gonna trim those. Back here is a super pain by the log, and it's not really rusty, so I'm just gonna clean that up and paint it. There's no holes really. That sucks putting that thing in. So we're gonna put as much floor as we can new, but I'm just gonna sort of patch it in on this back little frame down here. We'll trim it and stack it there and go around that log. On the other side it's gonna get replaced, and back here in this corner it will. But that's kind of what you get to do. You get to pick and choose the parts you put in there. But you want to make sure for sure that these guys line up. So when the new floor comes in, we'll line them up and trim, you know, trim this on both sides. Make sure that the new floor fits perfect before we remove the old one. Then we'll fit the floor but not weld it. Put the rockers in, because they have this piece also that has to line up. But we're kind of crunchy on the corner here, so this all has to get replaced. You know, down here all has to get fixed and replaced. And then you sort of fit everything together without welding, and when it all fits really good, then you tack it and you check it again, and then you weld it. But we'll get to that part when those parts come in. Until then, we got all this green metal to play with. Inner, outer rockers, the windshield piece. Got the passenger side long panel. I think we even have more up here. There's a rocker piece. There's the outriggers, and then we've ordered a bunch more. So next time we'll come back, we'll do a little more cleaning and start fitting some pieces in there. So we'll do that on the next trip. But for now, you know, if you like this, if you're learning like us and you're trying to think if you want to do this to your bus, you can totally do it. Not that hard. Come back, you know, next time. Hit that subscribe button right here and ring this little bell over here, and then you'll get notified when we have new episodes. Come and check us out then. Tell a friend. Thanks for watching.